Hello and welcome wherever you are, and if the weather with you is anything like it is here in Elgin, then it's a day for cats to be in by the fireside and for their human friends to be sitting back and enjoying events on this closing day of the 30th Orkney International Science Festival. And here, over the next 15 minutes, we're going to hear about harp seals in the Arctic, look down from the air at Orkney's archaeology, and seek out clusters and clouds in the night sky. But it's first in the north, and Dr. James Grecian is a research fellow at the Sea Mammal Research Unit of the University of St Andrews. He studies the effect of changes in the Arctic on patterns of marine mammal migration. Welcome, James.
Thanks, Harry.
And how is the Arctic changing?
The Arctic's seen some pretty drastic changes over the last few decades. As a result of climate change, we're seeing huge changes in the amount of ice in the Arctic. In the course of my lifetime, for example, we've seen a drop in late summer sea ice between a half to a third of the ice has disappeared.
The ice, what's its role in the ecosystem?
So ice provides a range of different things in the Arctic. The most simple thing is that it's a platform for animals to use. So those of you that watch natural history documentaries will think of polar bears hunting seals on the ice, or walruses using the ice as a place for them to haul out when they're resting. But it also provides habitat for food as well. So you have large amounts of algae that grow underneath the ice, and this algae is food for small animals called zooplankton. And these plankton are eaten by fish, which in turn are eaten by seals and whales and the like.
So this is where the harp seals come in. There's a kind of chain of change, and upwards it goes, and the harp seals are close to the end of it.
Exactly. So harp seals are the most abundant seal species in the Atlantic. There's about 10 million animals. They breed on the sea ice. So in years of really low sea ice extent, they've got limited areas that they can breed on. And in the summer, they move north following the ice, and they use the ice as a place for them to rest, but also somewhere for them to forage to find food underneath.
And are you noticing changes in the harp seal population?
We've seen big changes in harp seal population. The main thing is that they're recovering from historical hunting, but we're seeing changes in how quickly they can recover from that hunt. In some areas, we think that's to do with the fact that the ecosystem is changing quite a lot as a result of these changes in ice. So my work is trying to understand how their movements and their migrations are changing in response to these changes in the seasonal ice.
And what are the next steps? Will there be Arctic visits to follow?
I was lucky enough to go out last year and put some tags on. So we tracked some harp seal pups. These are the kind of cute, white, fluffy pups that you see on natural history documentaries. And we tagged those to see their first migrations north to try and understand where they go. And we're doing work with some sea ice modelers to try and understand how the sea ice might change in the future, to understand how their habitats might change as well.
James, this is a story we'll look forward to following with you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks a lot.
Now we go south to Perthshire, where Tristan Cameron-Harper is back home after his visit to Orkney. Hello, Tristan.
Hey, Howie, thanks for nice seeing you again. Thanks for having me.
It is great to see you. And how did the visit go?
The visit went really good. I locked out and got amazing weather, and I got to explore some sites, which was just beautiful. And I'm already missing the windy lands of Orkney, and I'm excited already to go back next year.
And you've been looking at archaeological sites from an angle that not many of us look from.
Yes, so in this video that I'm going to share with you all, I visited Scarabray, Broch of Gurness, the barn house right by the Stones of Stenness, the Broch of Bursay, and I even went up to Hoy, and I went up and hiked some of the high peaks across there so you get a nice viewpoint. And I visited the Stones of Stenness. So there's some nice archaeological sites for you to all enjoy.
We'll look forward to seeing it. Here it comes. And I should say that that film can be seen in its full resolution from 2 o'clock onwards this afternoon. The streaming system with Zoom means it's here in lower resolution. It's spectacular here and even more spectacular when you see it in high resolution. I should also say you can access it from our web page, from the program entry page for this event. And also on that page, there's a superb video of the Barony Mill. It's a new one that's been specially made for us by Jack Nurkwai. And you can see Ellen Hay guiding among the machinery, showing the machinery and its function there, and Margaret Phillips showing how to bake a bear bannock. So 2 videos to look forward to, but now it's coming up to 1:10 and the Starman cometh with clusters and clouds. Welcome, Eric.
Good afternoon again, Howie. Well, welcome to the last short session for absolute beginners. Tonight's observing can be done with just the naked eye, but to fully appreciate the beauty of what I'm going to show you today, a pair of binoculars is what you really need to have to hand. I'm viewing virtually from North Ronaldsay at 11 p.m. We have such near perfect dark skies up here, and the clearer and darker the skies are, the more you'll be stunned and amazed by today's objects. Next slide. Tonight, if you face east about 11 p.m, I've left it a peedie bit later tonight so that the sky is quite a bit darker. You'll see the waning moon just above the horizon and the distinctly red planet Mars shining brightly about 2 clenched fists distance above the eastern horizon. By now, you'll be familiar with some of the stars and constellations in this area. Next slide. Use the bright navigation star Capella to find the constellation Ryga just above the northeast horizon, the upside down Y of Perseus, and the W of Cassiopeia. Next slide. If you turn to face roughly east and look from the northeast and upwards to above your head, you'll see and identify some of the constellations I've talked about in previous lunchtime sessions. Next slide. Oh, could you go back 1 slide, please? If you extend an imaginary line down the lower left arm of the Perseus Y, you'll see a distinct cluster of 5 or 6 bright stars. This is the Pleiades, also known as the 7 Sisters, or for all you Japanese car owners, Subaru. Have a look at the logo on the radiator grille next time you see one. Look at the clusters through binoculars. Even more stars will pop out and beautiful curves and patterns are revealed. Next slide. I've decided to indulge myself today and show you one of my own photographs of this absolutely stunning star cluster. It won't look like this through binoculars, but I just couldn't resist showing you some of my work. If we go into the next slide, if you extend an imaginary line from the tip of the stalk of the Perseus Y and draw another line from the 2 middle left stars in Cassiopeia, almost exactly halfway between these 2 points, you'll see a faint smudge. The cluster's very high up in the sky just now, so there's very little atmosphere to blur it out. Point your binoculars at it. It's an absolute wonder. This is the double cluster. It's beautiful. It contains about 350 bluish white stars, and it's young. It's only 13 million years old. If you go to the next slide, here's another of today's little indulgences to show one of my photographs of these wondrous jewels in the sky. Next slide. Finally, if we use the right-hand valley of Cassiopeia and extend the pointer towards another asterism, the square of Pegasus, these stars and their square pattern are very easy to spot. If you bear off the top left star in the square, hop along 2 stars to the left, then up another 2 stars, look very carefully and you'll see a large, if very faint, smudge. You might have to look a little off to the right in order to use the very light sensitive rods of your eye to pick it out. But this is the furthest thing you can see with the naked eye. It's the Andromeda Galaxy, and it's 2.5 million light years away. Have a look at it through binoculars. You're looking at the dense star core of the galaxy. If we go to the next and last slide, this is the Andromeda Galaxy and its two close neighbours. They are a most impressive object to photograph. Well, this week I very much enjoyed showing absolute beginners how to find their way around the night sky, and I very much hope that you'll continue to enjoy this beauty of nature for yourselves. That's it from me. Clear skies.
And may your constellations ever glitter, Eric. Thank you very much indeed. Our three speakers will be available very shortly. In fact, they'll be wending their way to the Peedie Kirk, available round the tables for you to ask questions or discuss generally. And if you stay with us, well, at 2 o'clock, the event then has been postponed due to unavoidable circumstances, but at 3:30, Neil Price will be along with a wonderful story going back to the days of the Crimean War. The Mason, the Tsar, and the dry docks of Sebastopol bring together a family history with all kinds of events in the mid-19th century. At 5 o'clock, we go back 75 years to the opening of the Churchill barriers. We look at their construction. And at 7 o'clock, we boldly go into cyberspace to link up with islands worldwide. They range from the Andaman Islands to St. Helena, and we'll be presenting in association with Orkney Renewable Energy Forum and Community Energy Scotland. We'll be presenting stories of energy developments in communities in the various parts of Orkney. So plenty to look forward to, but in the meantime, we'll simply say thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.